welcome to another week of Kingdom Builders Credit Repair. This is me, Michelle Green, with credit and financial tips coming to you every Friday from 12:30 to 1 to help you with your credit and your finances. That's what we do. And listen, if you are already subscribed, thank you for being a subscriber. If you are already locked in one of our credit repair programs, listen, thank you for being a client. We appreciate you greatly. And thank you to all those who are connected with us in any form, of any fashion. If this is your first time watching, though, make sure that you go ahead and hit that subscribe button because we want you to lock in. We want you to be able to receive these credit and financial tips every single Friday from what? 12:30 to 1 Eastern Standard Time. That's right. And then you can go back and watch the replay on YouTube or listen to our podcast at Kingdom Builders Credit Repair. That's right. We are a podcast and a TV show, and we are powered by CTR Media Network. That's right. This is a location where you can be streaming to billions of people all over the world. CTR Media Network has it going on. Listen, y'all haven't seen us back in the day as much as you are seeing us now. And this is the reason why we are here, because we have collaborated with CTR Media Network, and we are so grateful for their exposure to give to us, to all the people who are listening, watching, and locking into our subscription, no matter where we are. Thank you so much for everyone being here today. So today we are going to talk about what? How Christmas ends up on your credit report. How does Christmas end up on your credit report? Well, let's think about it. How do we get to anything ending up on our credit report? So let's start out by talking about our credit and what credit is in the first place so that we'll understand exactly what goes on with credit and how that actually ends up on our credit report when we are in the holiday seasons dealing with Christmas. Okay, so Christmas is a celebration. It's a holiday season. It is a great day to come together with family and friends. But credit is the ability for you when you don't have enough money, when you're working on your job, when you're working in your business and you're creating an income for yourself or for your family. It is the ability for you when you don't have enough money to be able to go and borrow the money from a lender or a creditor. That's what credit is. And if you don't know how to manage your credit, if you don't know how to take care of your basic living expenses, that's what we specialize in here. I am a financial advisor. I've been a financial advisor actually for 30 plus years, almost 34 years to be exact. I know I don't look like it. Thank you very much. Thank you very kindly. But I have actually been doing credit and finances for over 30 years. And we are here as Kingdom Builders Credit Repair to really help you to get your credit and your finances together. We have a new financial dominion master class that's coming up in 2026. So listen, make sure that you stay tuned so you can hear more information about that class and you can get into that class. And that class is like no other. Like right now, we are doing a beta test run on the class, and it has been mind blowing. I'm trying to tell y'all, it has been like phenomenal for real. All right. Something that I've never done before, but something that is a collaboration of all the things that God has gifted me in over the years in the financial arena. But anywho, now that we know what credit is, we know that we need to manage it. We need to prepare our finances for certain things. And today we are going to discuss how Christmas ends up on our credit report. Well, the most simple way to think of it is in the form of a credit card. What do we do when Christmas comes along, especially if we have a credit card? What we're going to do is begin to use all of the credit cards or all of the credit that we have access to. And that's how Christmas ends up on our credit reports. So what are we doing? We're taking a lender, we're taking a creditor, and we're going to either create some type of revolving revolving line of credit, or we are going to create some type of loan. But most of the time, we end up with a credit card bill that is maxed out or that is really, really close. So close to the actual limit that we have on the credit card. So when we look at how Christmas ends up on our credit reports, it literally comes simply through, majority of the time, a credit card of some kind. So here are some things that are happening with the credit cards in the holiday season. Most of us are trying to figure out how we're going to manage our regular bills in addition to doing Christmas. So what usually happens during the holiday season of Christmas is we just decide that we're not even going to worry about our regular bills. We're going to only focus on the money that we have and the credit cards that have limits on them where we haven't actually maxed them out yet. We're going to see if we can extend the limits, and we're going to put the Christmas on the credit card. We're going to charge everything that we possibly can. We're in the stores and we're looking around, and when we get to that cash register, the cash register person asks us what? They asked us if we would like to open up a new credit card with that particular store. And if we are opening up those credit cards, if we have enough available credit, if we have a good credit score, then guess what we're doing? We're extending our credit lines, which is actually extending a credit limit is a good thing. That can actually help to benefit your credit. However, if you're using more than 30% of your credit limit, if your balance is always over more than 30% of your credit limit, really it should be under 15. But if it's over 30%, it's absolutely going to drop your credit score over 50 points. Over 50 points. That's right. Over 50 points. We got to stop doing this thing the same way we've always been doing it and expecting a different result, because that's insanity, y'all. Every single holiday season, what do? We run to our credit cards. We run to the companies that we think are going to give us a line of credit, the loan companies, the credit card companies, and even to a degree that we are doing some new things in this holiday season. So let's talk about it. First, I want us to understand that regardless of what you have heard, regardless of what you know, even in the practices of your own credit, this is a new time. And in this new time, especially being artificial intelligence has kicked in to most of the lenders and creditors that provide credit cards and loans to us, we have to understand the utilization and the fact that we can make the monthly payment versus actually paying down the balance is two different worlds. And in those two different worlds, what that means is that it's more important for you to pay down your balance as well as keep your payments made on time than it is for you just to make the minimum monthly payment. Because making that minimum monthly payment is only showing a very small portion now of how well you're doing with your credit score, how well you're doing with your credit. So what's going to happen is after the holiday season is over, then we're going to have many, many regrets. We're going to have that buyer's remorse because we have purchased so many things during this holiday season and not really thought about that credit utilization right now when we need to be really making the consideration. If you don't have the cash, if you cannot afford to miss out on paying your lights, your water, your food bill, whatever it is that you need to do in order to basically live, then you should not be utilizing any extra credit and you should not be spending any extra cash. But as it relates to credit cards, let's look at some other things that are coming down the pipeline. So I've noticed that in the credit card industry, there are now the Cash App, the Venmo, the Zelle, and PayPal companies that are now offering people money for in exchange to pay them back later. So, as it relates to buy now, pay later companies, I want you guys to know that buy now, pay later is also going to eventually end up on your credit report. Why do I know that? Because we don't already have the discipline to just say no to the companies that we already gained credit with in the first place. Real traditional credit. See, buy now, pay later companies are trying to get you to buy into, okay, even though it's something that's really expensive that you want and you don't have all the money right now to pay for it, what they're trying to get you to do is break it down into maybe 4 or 8 or 10 incremental payments so that you can just break that thing down and you assume that, oh, well, this is something I can absolutely do. But have you really sat down and thought about all the debt that you already owe? Have you really sat down and thought about all the things that you have not been able to pay already? Have you just been all 2025 ignoring the things that you know that you need to pay? Is that the case? Is that the situation, the scenario that you've been dealing with? So that's why it's so important for us to understand that we cannot continue to go into these buy now, pay later options because it is delayed. It is actually instant gratification, but it's delayed credit. And when I say delayed credit, how does this negative credit end up on our credit reports? It starts right now in the holiday season. If you haven't known by now, there is a cycle that keeps on going on every single year. Doesn't matter what year it is. This is the season for everyone to market something of the sort to say that, hey, come on over here. I want you to be able to buy my product or my service. So when that happens, we tend to get really caught up into the process of spending money that we don't have, spending money and using our credit cards in ways that we know that we cannot keep up with. So a good example is, did y'all know that Cash App is now offering for you to be able to get a loan from them? Get a loan from Cash App. So if you have Cash App, you have the ability to borrow anywhere from like $200 to $500. Some people, depending on how often they use their Cash App, and I know we are a Cash App happy family. I know that we are, and I use Cash App myself, so I'm not degrading the Cash App, but it's very useful, but it needs to be used in the proper manner. So, what am I saying to you? I'm saying that even though Cash App is offering you the opportunity to borrow the money, what you want to be mindful of is how you're going to pay the money back to Cash App. First, you need to know that yes, even though they may not charge as much to borrow money from them because they are a buy now, pay later type of alternative credit, even though that's the case, it still doesn't mean that if you miss a payment that you're not going to receive additional interest rates, which are eventually going to show proof that you really ended up paying a whole lot more for something that you could have just paid cash for when you had the money. Now, I know that we want to do nice things for our family, but what is the actual reason why we're doing the things that we're doing in the first place for Christmas? Why are we doing this? Do we really have a valid reason, or is it just that this is the routine of the system that we have been taught? Is it really about the holiday season root reason, or is it about something totally different? Hello, everybody out there that's coming in. Thank you for joining us. We are so glad that you are here. But listen, we got to talk about why we're doing this in the first place. So, we have learned that Cash App is now offering us cash. But I don't want you guys to buy into that. I don't want you to buy into the fact that you're going to be able to get this free money. It looks good. You know you're in need of something. So you could just take that Cash App money. But what about if it's time to pay it back and you don't realize that Cash App is connected to what? Your bank account. Cash App is connected to what? Your bank account for your debit card. Why is this so important to understand? Because you don't realize that when it's time to pay Cash App back, that when you get your direct deposit, that money is going to come off the top. So it's the same cycle as the cash advances back in the day. If you remember back in the day, we had all these what they call shark companies or predatory lending companies that decided that they were going to go ahead and lend us certain amounts of money, and they lend us this money and then we will have to pay them back when we get paid. Well, guess what? This is the same cycle, just with a different face. So we don't want to get entangled into these type of deals because we're going to miss out eventually if we already are not in a system of paying our debts on time and paying them where the balances are not that high. Because see, in the credit world, the way that things end up on our credit and it ends up negatively is the fact that we are not paying down the balances. We are not deciding that we want to really pay off our debt. We are just accruing more and more debt on top of more and more debt. And then we're just assuming that some kind of miracle is going to happen and just we're going to win the lottery. We're going to be able to, make so much money during a certain business season or whatever the case. We just have these fantasy mindsets around our finances and our credit instead of actually diving into what is truth. So we don't want to buy into the alternative credit options. Another one is the PayPal, where PayPal breaks everything down into incremental payments that you can pay per month. Listen, don't get caught up. Places like Affirm, Acima, Catapult, Afterpay, these are companies that we are considered to have as alternative lines of credit. And I'm telling you that unless you are already disciplined to pay back money when you borrow money, then it may not be the best option for you to obtain these types of services just because it's holiday season doesn't matter. Just because you know that you want to do that gift, you want to get that big gift, it doesn't matter. You got to think about your future. You got to think about what really makes sense for you. So let's talk about it. Don't get caught up in the emotion of Christmas. Don't get caught up in the emotion of buying stuff for Christmas. It's okay for you to get caught up in the happy times, the family times, and everybody coming together for the actual reason of Christmas, but don't get caught up in the emotional spending for Christmas. When you decide that you are going to do gifts for Christmas, I want you to think about, are you actually buying for the people that you really want to buy for? Or are you buying for people out of obligation or out of fear or out of this is what everybody does? Even on the job or in your business, feeling like you are pressured to give a bonus, you are pressured to bring something for a Secret Santa, feeling pressured for coming to that Christmas party without a gift. Listen, we got to cut it out. We got to cut out the emotional spending that we have around holidays. We have to understand that every decision that we make during this holiday season is going to have an impact on our credit. It's going to have an impact on our credit score. So why are we doing things just off of an emotion? The emotion is a lie. Emotions usually go up and down and all around. And so what's going to happen is you got this emotion right now. It might be an emotion of fear. It might be an emotion of feeling like you're not worthy of doing what you need to do or what you should do or what you even want to do. But don't allow that emotion to deter you to do something that is going to be regretful later. Listen, we got to stop. So when you decide that you are going to do Christmas, when you decide that you're going to spend money for Christmas, I want you to stop and decide, I'm going to only get Christmas based on the people that I want to buy for, the people that I really have in my heart that I want to do this for, and not just off of obligation or fear or feeling like you're the one that's always left out. So you're going to do something extravagant to show off. Listen, this is not what the holiday season is about. And nor is it going to be about what your credit report having a good credit score is about in the future for next year. So we got to understand that, hey, when you decide that you're going to get Christmas, do only for the people that you know that you want to do for. And don't go over and above doing things that you know that you cannot afford. Listen, choose one set of family or even talk to your family about doing just one gift for one person and have everybody exchange one gift. Stop trying to do it all. You are not the go to person in every situation. And especially if your credit score is not where it needs to be. Listen, the average credit score is usually in a 500 to a low 600 score. And I do mean it could be even lower than 500. The lowest score you can have is a 300. So if you're out there and you're trying to do all of this holiday shopping and you know that you've not been in position to do this before, then stop doing it. Stop right now today. It is okay for you to say no. I want you to understand, give yourself permission to say no. To give yourself permission right now today, in this very moment, just stop and just let's practice. Say no, 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 no. Okay? No, we are not going to do this again. So when you are reaching that point where you are in conversation with different people in your family, your friendships, even the people in different organizations that you are participating in, you have to practice saying no, not this year. No, we're keeping it simple. No, we're doing experiences instead of expenses. Those are the ways that you can implement your no. You are doing experiences. You're doing experiences. You're doing experiences, not expenses. Can you hear me? Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth right now? Okay. We got to say no. Just say no to the people that you are in relationship with, friendship with, or even associating with. Just say no to the person at the counter. Just say no to the new car, to the new stuff. And let's get into a mindset of contentment. Contentment around what, Michelle? Contentment around the stuff that you already have. I have always watched during Christmas time when we get our kids all of these different gifts. 9 times out of 10, the kids don't even appreciate the gifts after 2 or 3 months down the road. Some of the kids don't even appreciate the gifts after a few days of getting the gifts. After you have went and bent over backwards and stood in those long lines and decided to get frustrated because you knew you were doing something that you should not do as it relates to your finances and your credit. You were going, maxing out your cars, you were overspending, you were over the utilization point, you were deciding that you were just going to let everything go and you'll just start over next year. Listen, aren't you tired of doing that? Aren't you tired of going through the same cycle over and over again? So, in order for you to really stop that cycle, you have to find gratitude in the things that you already have. Let's look at what you got last year for the holidays. Let's look at the things that you have accumulated throughout the years. Do you have any type of contentment in those things? See, we don't want to look at the competition. We don't want to compare ourselves to other people when we look at being content. So, for the holidays, if you are trying to compare other people's trees, if you're trying to compare other people's gifts, if you're trying to compare even other people's posts on social media, you are in the wrong frame of mind. And that's why the stuff that you're doing right now will end up on your credit report. Your entire Christmas, which usually runs, believe it or not, the average individual is going to spend anywhere from $1,500 to about $5,000 in Christmas. If you count the food, if you count the gas for traveling, if you count airplanes and all kinds of travel, transportation. If you think about not just the transportation, but think about the decoration, think about the gifts that we have to put up, that we have to wrap up. Think about all of the things, all of the people and places and things that we entertain and go to during the whole entire month of December. Listen, that's why we have Christmas on our credit report. And Christmas usually takes a whole entire year to 2 years to pay off because we are not conscious of what we are doing. So let's stop and be content with the things that we already have. I want you to be intentional. I want you to understand before you buy anything else, I want you to ask the question, do you even need this? Does the person that you are buying for, do they need what you are buying? Do they actually need it? Will they use it? Or are you buying the gift out of the decision that this is something that you want to give them so that you can just check off of your checklist that you went ahead and bought them something? So we gotta stop. We gotta stop. We got to stop and think about, do you or they need this? We are not buying out of desire. We are not buying off of an emotion. We are buying because we are unconscious of how much Christmas is actually placed on our credit reports. If we go down the list and we begin to break down our credit card bill, we will begin to see things that we have purchased from the last holiday season. If we look at the loans that we obtained, we can go ahead and track that we probably got the loan from the month of October through December. That's right, y'all. So we cannot afford to keep on living off of the emotion. Will this matter by February? What purchase you're making, is it going to matter by the month of February? Is it going to be something that is still relevant from the time that you buy it now to the time 3 months down the road, 2 months down the road, 1 month down the road? In January, is this thing going to actually matter? So when we start to look at the purchases that we're making, is it something that somebody needs? Is it something that's going to matter a few months down the road, next month, in a week after Christmas? Will it stress you out later that you have made this purchase? So listen, guys, we got to stop and think about, we have to really begin to stop and think about everything that we are doing. Is it truly something that we need to do? Is it something that we really should do so that we can stop putting Christmas on our credit reports? Please, y'all, I'm trying to tell you, it is something that I see every single time on our budget sheets, on our debt reviews. We see that people are spending a majority of their funds on things that really don't matter, things that are not a benefit, that are not going to be a long-term result or reward for their family, for them as an individual. It's just going to cause more and more stress. It's going to cause more and more stress. So I'm saying to you, aren't you ready to have some peace in your life? Aren't you ready to have some peace of mind? Are you tired of going through the same cycle over and over and over again? See, we got to understand holiday season is the time for holiday marketing. And we got to understand how this game runs. Credit and finances are all tied to cycles of poor credit decisions. Every single time. Credit decisions during holiday season, credit decisions during birthdays. We got a lot of people who have birthdays in the holiday season. It's just all a big cycle, and we gotta begin to change the cycle so that we can have a different outcome for our credit and for our finances. Listen, if you enjoyed what I have shared today, put a comment below and tell me about what it is that you learned from Kingdom Builders Credit Repair here at the KBCR TV show and podcast. Let us know exactly what you learned. Tell us about the things that you have interest in so that we can go ahead and get you in our KBCR program. And if you're already in the KBCR program, thank you for being here. But let's get in on an appointment so we can discuss how we can handle not having Christmas on our credit reports anymore. All right. Thank you guys for watching. We appreciate you so much. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. And listen, make sure that you are locked in every single Friday from 12:30 to 1 so you can see exactly what we do here at Kingdom Builders Credit Repair TV show and podcast. All right, guys, I love you. Thank you.